This is the brand new set from Ping, the i500. These are forged irons, the first forged irons from Ping in a long time. And Ping also are claiming these have explosive distance. I'm going to test them and give you my thoughts. Hi guys, I'm Rick Shiels down here at GolfWRX Golf Academy. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the videos. If you enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up button. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below by leaving me a comment and share this video around. I'd love you to be able to spread the message of the review of the Ping i500. And also check me out on Instagram at Rick Shiels PGA. You want to be checking me out on there to see what is coming up on the channel next. Okay, so let's get into the Ping i500s. First forged iron Ping have brought out for ages. This is a hollow head design, just like the G700, but it's a smaller version. And this kind of sits in the middle of now Ping's 5 sets of irons that they've got out on the market. And I must admit, these are sleek. They look phenomenal, but it comes with a price point. It really does. Over £1,000 and over $1,000 for a full set of these irons. And when I say full set, I'm talking 7 irons. Oh, that is pricey. Forged face, which I'm really excited about because I feel that's something that Ping have missed for a long time, a softer forged iron. And they are strong enough lofts. For example, the 7 iron here is 30.5 degrees of loft. You can actually go power spec with them and get them de-lofted to 29 degree for a 7 iron. But also you can go retro lofts. You can even weaken the lofts more to like 32 degrees of loft. I feel like the finish, this kind of pearlescence finish, is just delightful and possibly the sexiest irons Ping have ever brought out. They just look incredible. Now, I was hoping they would be a little bit more toward the blade category, but they're not. They're in competing against your P790s and your PXG irons. With the hollow head design, there's nothing filled inside it, but Ping are promising explosive distance. But with explosive distance, you always sometimes sacrifice something. So I took these irons out on the golf course, the 5, the 7 and the pitching wedge. And I started off on a par 3, slightly down the hill, beautiful day at Burnley Golf Club. And I hit these 7 irons into the green with great success. And the first thing I noticed when I hit the golf ball with the i500 was it didn't, for me, feel like a Ping iron that I know of. It felt soft. It felt responsive off the face. It had a lovely sound to it, and as soon as I looked up at the flight, the ball was airborne, and I mean really high up in the air. When that ball landed, I was expecting a little bit more stop than I actually gained from the 7 iron. The ball kind of landed and trickled on a little bit, and the greens were receptive enough to make the ball stop a little bit quicker. So that scared me a little bit around the spin rates, and I'll show you that a little bit more when I test it on GCQUAD. But the feel, oh, I mean, it was delightful. A Ping iron that feels this good. They're onto something there. I then hit some 5 irons down the hill, some big towering high 5 irons. Again, the ball flight was just going up in the air. The 5 iron loft in standard is 24 degrees. And again, you can go power spec or you can go retro spec to change the lofts accordingly to how you want to play your game of golf. But for me, the 5 iron felt amazing. Again, it was just going sky high. When I wanted to try and play it low, I could, which was a benefit, but I didn't feel like it would be a great set on a windy day. I suppose with all the weight being more pumped down to the bottom of the golf club, the launch angle and the flight was just up in the air. Again, a little bit concerned about the spin on the 5 iron from when I was seeing the ball land into the greens. Then I hit some pitching wedge shots. I hit a little par 3 up the hill. The pitching wedge loft on the i500 is 45 degrees. And my goodness, were the balls spinning. So I was pitching it up near the top of the green and spinning this golf ball back, sometimes way too much. No issues at all with the pitching wedge out on the golf course for responsiveness and stopping on the green. My issue was, I almost spun too much. And the other issue I found with the pitching wedge, it did come out quite hot. I tried to play some shorter shots, some softer shots, and struggled. Throughout the testing out on the golf course, I hit off-centered hits and found the forgiveness level to be very friendly and not really that punishing. I hit some shots that weren't perfectly struck, but I couldn't really tell on the performance. The performance was still pretty strong. Back in the academy, GCQUAD I hit Pro V1s. I did some testing with the 7, the 5 and the pitching wedge, and the numbers are as followed. 7-iron for me was carrying an awful long way. I was getting carry distances of 186 yards, which is ridiculous for a 30.5 degree lofted 7-iron. How was I getting that distance? Because of low spin. The spin rate was less than 5,000. In fairness, only just at 4,999 on the testing that I did. Ball speed was hot, 126 miles per hour ball speed. Now I've got some data from the clubs that I tested in the past, the i200s, the G400s and the G700s. And the i500s for me, testing it right now today, was the longest ping iron I've tested yet in the 7-iron category. The ball speed was the fastest, but however, the spin rate was the lowest. But when the ball went up in the air, and I mean up in the air, it was still stopping accordingly. It wasn't massively punishing me where the ball would roll through the back of the green. Moving into the 5-iron, I was carrying the 5-iron 202 yards. Again, great ball speed. Probably about the right spin rate for a 5-iron, just under 5,000, 4,600. No huge difference between the 5 and the 7 there. And the pitching wedge, again, just like it did on the golf course, impressed me enormously. 133 yards of carry, spinning at 9,000. I tried to hit a little delicate shot at 100, and again, sees the signs where the ball just comes hot off the face, and I just felt like I couldn't control those pitching wedge lofts. A concern, though, across the board there, when I was looking at the numbers, is how do the gaps then get filled? My 5-iron's going 202 yards, and my 7-iron's going 186 yards, and my pitching wedge is going 133 yards. That leaves huge gaps in the middle. Huge gaps. I would almost be needing to gain 50 odd yards with only 2 clubs with my 8 and 9-iron, and that's not realistic. However, the gap between 7 and 5 was pretty much spot on. Our 7-iron's getting a bit too hot because, you know, when you go to test products, 7-irons, 6-irons are the clubs you typically test with. 7-iron for me was ridiculously hot in the i500. However, across the board, across the performance, I couldn't massively fault it. The gap in the distances might just be the fact that I'm not using, I would probably need retro lofts in the i500 irons. But what I maybe, and I don't want to say lost in distance, I gained huge distance. The big hug that these irons were giving me was the feel. Wow. Like different level. I've not felt Ping irons this sodding good. And I've sworn that Ping should bring out bladed forged irons for ages. The thing that I'm gutted about is that they've brought out only the i500 in forged. Now, does that lead to something down the line with more bladed clubs? Fingers crossed. Let's hope so. The other club they brought out at the same time here is the new i210. This is replacing the i200. This is really for the better player. These two clubs kind of sit very closely matched up. They're claiming the i500 goes further than the i210. Watch the review of the i210 because I would say that that is the case. It does go longer. But why did they not bring out this in forged? Why was the i210 not forged? I'll come back to that in the review of the i210. If you've not seen that, click the link up there in the corner. If it's not out yet, it'll be out very soon. Going back to the i500, this iron sits in the middle of Ping's 5 sets of irons. Can you believe that? Ping have got 5 sets out. Are they getting a little bit like TaylorMade? Are they getting a little bit like Callaway, bringing out ridiculous amounts of sets? Even Titleist have been guilty of it this year. Are this many sets actually needed by Ping? iBlade, i210, which is the new one, i500, G400, G700, oh my goodness, so many letters and numbers. Have Ping got a little bit confused? Are they trying to be like your TaylorMade, your Callaways, and even Titleist have got tremendously guilty of this in the last few years, bringing out loads of sets. Are they needed? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. For me, iBlade, i500 maybe in G700 would just be adequate, be perfect. But I suppose the brands make irons if you're going to use them, you're going to test them. And with the Ping i500 coming out, huge competitor for the very successful TaylorMade P790s with their player-looking iron that's hollow-headed, but that is actually filled with speed foam. But we've got to look back at who made these more recent, the players' irons, which are forged and are still hollow-headed design. And that's actually PXG. They came out with the 0311s, and then TaylorMade cottoned onto it, and now Ping feel like they're cottoning onto it. But in fairness, a lot of PXG guys came from Ping in the first place. So it's an interesting idea, the players iron with a hollow head, but with the Ping i500, there is no insert. It is completely hollow. Even though there is a screw cap in the end, there is actually no substance in the head. It's completely hollow. But with it being forged, it gives you that, honestly, that amazing feel. Would I use these irons? You know what? Yes, I absolutely would. For me, the feel outweighed what I was maybe losing in accuracy on distance, but I wouldn't have them in standard loft. I'd have them in retro loft, a little bit more weaker. I find that these irons suited a really confident looking look behind the golf ball. The performance was incredible. The height was superb. The feel was just, honestly, for a Ping iron, out of this world. Go and test these irons if you're in the market of something that gives you forgiveness, something that gives you distance, and something that feels amazing. Ping i500 iron, I think it sits in a nice slot. I'd just be interested to see how much of a competitor it takes from the P790s. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned, lots more to come. If you've been new to my channel and you enjoyed the video, smash that like button. Also subscribe. Make sure you follow me on my YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of the videos. Share this video around, and lastly, as always, follow me on Instagram. I do some incredibly individual content out on Instagram. If you want to see what's coming up next, stay tuned on there, because that's the best way to see. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned, lots more to come. And that was my full in-depth review of the Ping i500 irons.